This is Beyond with Heather Tesch, where we examine near-death experiences and life itself, hopefully making this life a little better. Hello, everybody. Great to have you here today, and I want to thank my guest, Yandea. Thank you so much for being here.
No problem. Thank you for having me, Heather.
It is so great to have you here. I loved our conversation in part 1, and I'll have a link to that in the description. And your story is fascinating, but also the lessons that you learned from it, I think, are really interesting. And one of the things that you learned was the importance of being present in situations. And you learned that during your life review. So can you talk a bit more about that?
Yes. So one of the things I saw was, it's actually the only example that was given to me, was I saw my, one of my younger sons. As I said, I have 5 children. So I saw one of my younger sons, showing me something, and I could see myself talking to him, like saying, "Oh, wow, that's nice. Yes, that's good." Everything that, moms would say, "That's good. That's so nice. Good job." And he's showing it to me. But in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I have to do this. Don't forget to do that. So I was separated. And as soon as I saw that, I understood immediately, that it wasn't right, And so this is a key thing, I think, for us to realize, that when we are separated, like having some of our mind here and some of our mind there, whatever it is that we're doing, it's not being done completely. It's not, we're actually missing out on both things, or on however many we're doing. So it's very important for us to just have, just be honest and have kind of like priorities, right? The way I think of it is, anything that can be paused can be paused. So a movie can be paused, social media can be paused, these things can be paused. People can't be paused, and these are like people can wait, you could have that sort of thing, but that's kind of what I use to prioritize, so if there's something I'm doing, and everything needs our presence, just not living things. If you're writing a letter or you're doing, it needs your full attention so that you could communicate and articulate exactly what it is you're trying to say. But let's say if somebody had to come to you, like my children always do this, I'll be doing something and then they'll come. I decide in that moment, what is most important to me right now, right? And I know I need to finish this thing right now. This is important. I'm fully engaged here. Is it an emergency? It's not an emergency. Please wait, right? Because I'm also realizing how much my children are now learning the importance of presence by me demonstrating that. So now I say, okay, hold on. It's not an emergency. You're going to wait. And I fully go right back in, whether it takes me 5 minutes or an hour. I am present in finishing this thing, so it's complete. And I know that when things are complete, they have love in them and they last. They last. So if it's a book that you're writing, if it's an email that you're responding to, whatever you're doing, when you do it and you're fully present, it accomplishes its purpose. And then I will tend to my children, right? Or whoever it is that needed me, the phone call or whatever else that may be happening. And sometimes also vice versa, right? Even if it's not an emergency, if I feel that this needs my attention, I'm going to put this on pause and deal with that. So there's no more splitting of my energy, right, anymore.
And that is so great, because I'll be honest, I do this a lot. I will be at home and I'll be doing something on my phone. A lot of times it's answering the comments for this podcast.
Yes.
And somebody will come in the room and talk to me, my husband or my son or my daughter. And in the past, I've gone like this, and I kind of do both. And after hearing you say that, I'm going to set my phone down and I'm going to pay attention to them. Now, like you said, sometimes we have to keep doing what we're doing, but honestly, a lot of the times I don't need to be doing that, at least for 5 minutes or 2 minutes or however long, that conversation lasts. And you're right that I want to teach them that too, because otherwise they're going to do the same thing to me. They're going to be on their phones when I'm trying to talk to them.
Exactly.
So that is really great advice that you give. You also talk about love, and I found this was also a really interesting lesson that you learned, that love is actually, I think you said love is doing. Is that what I think?
Love is being.
Love is being, that was it. Love is not, is it love is not
It's not
doing?
doing.
Sorry, see, obviously I have a lot to learn. So fill us in on that.
Yeah. So, love is, we've learned, we've learned that this is what love looks like, right? This is what love looks like. So you can get people who will be, let's use, for example, like a marriage. You could get people who will be in a marriage, and from the outside, because the husband is doing everything and the wife is doing everything, you're like, wow, they have such a great relationship because you're looking at the doing. Meanwhile, you'll be surprised when you find out that they got a divorce, right? Why? Why did they get the divorce? I mean, obviously there's many different reasons, but if they were being with each other and not just doing the things, then most likely that divorce would not occur, right? So the being means you're giving your ears, all of your senses, you're hearing them, you're seeing them, you're feeling them, you're giving your whole presence. You're not concerned about anything else, but right now, in this moment, this person is here and they are with me, so I'm going to be here with them. If we did that more with each other, we would be able to know when someone is hurting. Like sometimes a wife may bring food for her husband and rest it down, let's just say, and okay, thank you. And because he's not seeing her and being present with her, he may miss the fact that she's crying. She may miss the fact that he's, sweating more than he usually does. She's missing. So we miss these things. And then eventually you're in relationships and you just feel like strangers in the same house, right? Because you're totally not with each other. You're not being with each other. Everyone is doing their tasks. Children learn this is what you do to show your parents that you love them, right? Go to school, you do your chores, you do this, you do. So we're also teaching our children that love is a doing thing and not a being thing, right? And so that is literally, it's been the life-changing lesson for me. Yeah, I just don't care so much about doing anymore. If it's not being, if it's not something that my whole heart can be present in, it's just not worth doing, because I know I'm fooling myself. I'm fooling myself if I go along with that.
Just last night, I was talking to my daughter who's engaged, and I was
Mm.
talking to her and her fiance, and I was telling them that right now they're in love. It's easy. I
Mm-hmm.
said, but as you get older, I mean, I've been married for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I said, you choose to be in
Yes.
love
Yes.
because you really have to make it a choice, because by then, he's seen all my flaws. I've seen his flaws. You snore at
Yes.
night, all these things.
Yes.
And so it is, I think, very similar, when you choose
Yeah.
to do it as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Love is definitely a choice, and that's it. You have to choose to be present. You know, it's just so easy. Doing is so easy. Being is difficult, right? Because being
Right.
being takes all of you, right? Doing is an action. You could just easily do the tasks like chores, right? Just do the things. But giving someone yourself, whether it's I mean, I'm so serious. If I'm talking to the mailman, I'm there, or I'm not talking to the mailman. You know what I mean? Like if I'm either there or I'm just absolutely not.
And that brings us to another thing you said,
Hmm.
that everyone you meet is, every encounter is an opportunity.
Yes. Oh my gosh. My hope, and it's already happened, I've seen it. My hope is that next time I transition, when I see all these people before me, I will have so much more brighter lights. So much more bright. When I first came back, I only cared. I'm being very honest. When I first came back, I only cared about, you know, my husband and my children. I was like, I just need to make sure that we're good. And then since I've been back and I've been sharing about love, and the amount of people who are telling me this clicks, this makes sense for me. And then because of that, when we're interacting, we're making love, we're making love. And so they're so present with me and I'm so present with them. And the amount of things that come out from these little interactions with even strangers, it's so beautiful. You could actually feel again that like tangibleness that I was talking to you about. And I don't know where they are in the world, but in that moment in time, I am with them and they're with me. And I'm like, I know when I transition, that's one brighter light. And I'm not doing it to have more brighter lights. I'm doing it because it feels so good to make love. It feels so good to, and that's another thing, right? Making love. We just only know about that sense. Making love is what men, partners do in the bedroom. We don't know that, no, you make love with your children. You make love. Love is something that is made, and it's not just a sexual act. Some people have a sexual act and they never make love. They're just doing and not being, right? And so now I just look at everything as just, how can I make more love? I just want to make love my whole life. I just want to, make love, but you can't make love without being present and without giving all of yourself.
You also said that love is a substance of all creation.
Yes. Yes. Um, oh, I wouldn't even know how to explain that, because at first when I saw it, it was, like I said, just the bright lights of each of the people, and then even like dimmer lights. But as I looked into it, it had, well, first I already said it wasn't just the emotion, because I felt the love, when I sensed my husband's presence and my children, but it was actually the, like a tangibleness to it. It's like a light that you could touch, like a light that you could feel. And then I can know that this light is actually what everything is made of, right? Everything is made of this light. I have no proof to it other than it was what I knew in that space and time. I knew that, oh, this is what everything is made of, you know? And, I mean, everything, all of creation, it's what source is, or God. It's what we are. Nothing exists that is not made of love. And that's something that I meditate on often, because obviously we have, other things that exist that we may not think are as beautiful or as, as righteous, but nothing is made without love. Nothing can exist without it. I think maybe there's dimmer, maybe there's a something like that, because I did see that very bright lights and very dim light, but I don't think anything can exist. I wouldn't want to see anything that exists without love. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't want to. Nope.
You also said that you learned that if you lie, you're telling the universe to have somebody lie to you. If you're cruel, you're telling the universe to have somebody be cruel to you. And I assume you also mean then if you're kind, you're telling the universe to have people to be kind to you.
Yes, yes. That's one of the things that were made very clear to me. Remember, I talked about that 2-week period where I was going, in and out. And it came to me as like the law of permission. And it's really just the golden rule. We've heard it like throughout, I don't know, I think everybody has probably heard, do unto others as you would like them to do unto you, or whatever you'd wish for someone to do to you, you should do to them. And that is literally how everything is structured, right? So we have our own, if you could think of it like the way I think of it is like, if you live in your own little bubble, and in order for you to have good come into your reality, you need to give that good out. Because when you give that good, you literally are giving permission for that to come into you. And it works the same way. If you give out bad, you're giving permission for that to come into you. So whatever you give is what you are giving permission to, right? So permission, it comes from you first. And someone might say, well, I never did anything, to have that happen. Just, pray about it, meditate. Somewhere along your life, you might have done an action in that energy that has given access, because you literally are opening up doorways, right? You're saying, this is what I want, so I'm giving it. Because remember, whatever you want, whatever you wish for someone to do to you, whatever you wish for someone to do to you, do to them. So by you doing it to them, you're telling the universe that you are wishing for this to be done to you. You're praying all the time. We pray without words all the time by our actions. All the time we are praying. So someone might be saying, "Oh God, please, give me XYZ," but then their actions are speaking so much louder because their actions is what's giving the permission,
And I agree with that 100%. But are there some things that we plan before we come to this life? And I say that because I know people are listening and they're saying, well, a child doesn't ask for cruel things to be done to them.
Right.
So there must be some sort of a balance between the two.
Yeah. Well, we all have different beliefs, right? I do believe that we have past lives. And not just believe, I could say I know. I could say I know from my own experiences. I could say that I know for a fact that I could say I have. I could say I. Let me not speak for everybody else. I could say I know for a fact that I have past lives. And because of that knowing, I do think that there are things that we bring into this realm with us, whether it's because we need to solve these issues that we haven't solved in the past, learn lessons that we haven't learned in the past. But I definitely think that sometimes you can see a baby and say, well, this baby is in such a terrible situation. But we also don't understand that we are immortal. Our souls are immortal, right? You may change, you change clothes for another day, right? So it's like, if you think of it, if each day is a lifetime, you just change your clothes to go into another day, right? And so our souls, do not actually perish. We may go into another life, become something else, do something else, whatever the experience may be, but it's a constant evolving evolution of your soul to come into knowing fully who you are, right? And so that's my belief. And so because of that, I have like the knowing within myself that if I'm dealing with something in my life right now and I cannot see where I have basically whatever a man sows, that shall he reap. If I don't understand why I'm reaping something, then I tend to think, okay, something in my past life, I am resolving it now. And that's it. And that's how simple it is for me, Oh, another point to that I do want to say is that sometimes someone may say, I've only done one little bad thing. I've only done one little bad thing. It can't be that all of these, I've done one bad thing and there's 100 bad things happening to me. There is no way that it's because of this one bad thing. But actually, everything you do is a seed. Everything you do is sowing a seed. When you sow an apple seed into your ground, you get an apple tree, and an apple tree is full of fruits that are full of other seeds. So nature tells us that if we plant seeds, we will get lots of other seeds. So meaning if you plant one good thing in your life, you can expect that it's very likely that you'll get many other good things that can come from that thing. If you plant one bad thing in your life, you could expect that you can get many bad things. So sometimes people don't realize that their reality is really formed by their own actions. You're never doing something against somebody else. Everything you do, it happens within your own auric field. Every single act you do good to someone, it's happening within your field. You do bad to someone, it's happening within your field. You literally always reap whatever you sow.
And so we're talking about actions. What
Mm-hmm.
about our thoughts? Does that impact what comes to us as well?
Your thoughts, yeah, well, if you constantly like ruminate on negative things, it's like attracts like, you know, if you keep thinking upon negative things, it just keeps attracting other negative things. It becomes like a snowball. So the question is like, what direction do you want to roll down, right? Because we're going to roll down. Do you want to roll down and collect, more positive things? Or do you want to go this way and collect more negative things? You're going to collect it. It's going to happen, So which one? And that's the choice, right? Which way do you want to go? So if you know you're going to start your day today, I'm going to accumulate. It is just the nature. I'm going to accumulate today. What do you want to accumulate? More good thoughts or more bad thoughts? And then you decide. If you realize that if I take in this negative thought, it's going to lead to another one, then at some point you have to say, oh no, I realize this. One always leads to another. So at some point, I need to decide to not choose that negative thought. I have to decide to choose a positive thought, and then that positive thought to another positive thought. Our life, we literally are made up of the decisions that we make. Literally, we are making decisions all the way to do something, and to not to do something is still a decision that you're making.
Of course, it's very different on the other side. You were saying that everything is so real when you had your experience, and there are no lies, there are no falsehoods. So can you just share with us again just what it was like when you were there in terms of that feeling?
Well, the thing about it is that I didn't have any questions, because everything is just known. It's so weird. Like, you think, okay, when I get there, I'll, ask God this or that. Like, you actually probably wouldn't, because maybe everybody's different because we've experienced different things in life. But for me, I didn't have any questions. The moment I thought about something, the answer was there. The moment I thought about something, I didn't even have a question of like, how come I'm not seeing your hands? How like, why am I perceiving hands? But it's like, that's not even a question. It's just a knowing. I didn't even say like, who is this force that's with me? I just knew. Right. And because I didn't feel like I had to ask the force, who are you? Because I knew it. So now I'm back in this realm and someone's like, who's the force? And I'm like, I don't know. In this realm, I don't know. But when I was there, I fully knew. Right. So all I really can say is that when you're over on the other side, like here, things are dim. We have some sort of amnesia. It's not there when you're over there. So it's like the thoughts we're having is because we are clouded, right? We're clouded. So we're thinking, oh, I'll ask this and I'll, want to know about that. But you won't have that thought if you're over there and you're not clouded. You just are, you're just being. And I knew exactly where I was. I can't tell you where it is. I can't tell you the name of it, but I know when I was there, it was like I wasn't in a weird, strange place, So, and as much as I don't have the answers, like the names of things, I have the feeling of it all. It's like the reality of it is so much bigger than, it's so much more than words, So over in this realm, what I may not know to tell you, like give you certain answers, like what's the name, what heaven was this, whatever. I don't know any of that stuff to be able to tell you what the place was called, but I know enough of what the truth is in contrast of whatever life is here. It's energy, really and truly. You could feel the difference, right? In a very high vibration to a low vibration. It's like if you hear a song, even if you don't understand music, you don't have any idea what octaves are, what notes are. You have absolutely no idea. Someone plays a beautiful symphony, you could just sit there and be like, wow, this is peace. This is love. This is harmony. You know absolutely nothing about music, but you can understand that. So then you go somewhere else and it's just like crazy, just banging and you're like, oh, this is not right. You don't have to know. You get what I'm saying? You don't have to have the theory, right? Or have anything. We're smart, right? We have an intuitive knowing within ourselves. And I think like that's probably the closest way that I could explain. You know, being over there, it's just everything is in harmony. Everything is peace. Everything is just truth. You just know it. You could feel it. It's your whole body, your whole essence knows. There's no sense of fear. Fear is not there at all. There's, a place absent of fear, and just love and truth. I don't know what to call that. Yeah,
Sounds
it's
wonderful.
exactly like, does it need a name? Does it need a name?
Right. Now, when you came back, you said you got these downloads and you had a better understanding for
Yes.
scripture. So, are there things that we get wrong about
Oh,
that?
wow. Yeah. That could be a whole episode on its own. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
All right. So the
Yeah,
3-minute
the
version of
3-minute
that.
version of that. Wow. Well, you know, the key thing is that, okay, I was raised Christian, right? And I was raised Christian, and the Bible obviously has been the dominant scriptures, you know, in my life. And what I understood is that, okay, the picture of Christ, um, it's not at all what we've been taught. It's not at all what we've been taught. No.
In what way?
Christ is so much bigger than the embodiment in the person of Yeshua, right? Or some people say Jesus, right? Is so much bigger. And Christ is actually what we can all partake of. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people, well, I could just speak because maybe we've gone through different things in our walk, but um, I know for me, it's like a lot of people think like that God's love began with the manifestation of the baby in the manger, and then, you know, all the way to Calvary, and then continues. And what I know is that God's love has existed from the beginning, and that there is absolutely nothing that you or I can do to make God love us any more than God already has loved us. And there's nothing we can do to make God love us any less. So I was never communicated that message in the Bible. When I say in the Bible, I mean people teaching. I just reading Yeshua's words, I get that message. Now, after the experience, when I read, you know, everything, you know, they say the red letters, you know, when I read the red letters, it's like, oh my gosh, this is what you were saying. This is what you were saying. So my faith and belief in Yeshua as a Messiah is like so much greater now. I didn't think it could be greater, but it is. It's so much greater now because I understand that these words are spiritual words. And if you try to understand a spiritual thing with a carnal mind, you never will. You can't. It's impossible to understand it, right? So we read that, you know, God is spirit, and those who worship God must worship God in spirit and in truth, right? And so, you know, there is the truth part of it that we need to have. And we know that when Yeshua left, Yeshua said, I'm going to send you the spirit of truth to be around you and be in you. So if we have spiritual words, we need that spirit of truth to understand these spiritual words. And the funny thing is that these words are from God. So you need God to tell you what God means. You can't have a man or a woman tell you what God means unless God has told that man or woman what God means. Other than that, there's a whole big broken telephone happening. And that is literally why we have a billion different Christian denominations, right? Because you have one Bible and everybody is saying, this is what God means. Everybody has, this is what God means. But in the early church, that wasn't the case, right? Because people depended on the Ruach HaKodesh or the Holy Spirit to be their teacher. right? It says the anointing which is in you would lead you into all truth. The Spirit of God in you will be your teacher. And so the minute that we shifted from the Spirit of God in us, leading us and teaching us, to hearkening onto the voices of men instead of the voice of God, we went astray. We went astray.
You summed it up very well in 3 minutes. That's really, that gave me a great understanding. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yandea, I have really enjoyed this conversation. I know people will want to hear more from you. You have a YouTube channel. I'm sure you have a website and other things. So just tell us how we can get in touch with you.
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is Yandea DMS Official. And if you want to email me or to contact me, you can do that through my website at www.iamabama.com.
And spell that out.
So IAMABAMA.com.
And I will also put links in the description for everybody too. So you can always go there and find that kind of information.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You have already shared so much wisdom, but do you have any just parting advice that you can leave with the people that are listening?
Yeah. I think what I would like to share, and it's been on my heart a lot actually, is that I think if there was one message I could leave this world with, it would be to let everybody know that you are a child of Most High, a child of Source, a child of God, a child of Yahuwah, however you see the Creator, you are a child of the Most High, and nothing can actually separate you from the love of God. Nothing at all. Man has done an incredible job with distorting the love of God. But if you just take the time, however it is that you do it, meditation, prayer, go for a walk, whatever it is, and you just say, Creator, God, Source, whatever you call the Creator, I want to know who I am in you. I want to understand why you have created me and what it is I am here to do. I am sure that you will get an answer. Just do it from a right heart.
And there go the kids.
Yeah. Okay, baby, I'm going to come get them. The dog is out into the chickens.
Okay, well, I better let you go then. And thank you so much. I really have enjoyed our conversation. It's been great. And even the lovely sound of children in the background has been wonderful too. So
yes. Thank you. Mom life. It doesn't stop. Be present.
Yes. Be present, everybody.
Let me go save the chickens.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
I have to say that I just, I love the new format of how we share information and that it is very homey. I've got my cat here. She had her kids in the background, and that is real life. I worked in television most of my career. And, you had to have things kind of perfect and prim and proper. And I just like this. And hopefully you do as well. It's just, to me, it feels at ease. It feels normal. It feels right. I hope you enjoyed the conversation that we had. Yandea really is a beautiful soul. She is so kind. I loved her messages. She shared so many wise things. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. So go ahead and put them in the comments. You may want to comment too on what she thought about scripture. I really found it interesting how she looks at it differently now than she did before her near-death experience. And if you don't feel like commenting, but you just want to let me know that you made it this far, I always really appreciate it. So just go ahead and put "made it" in the comments. And then, of course, I also appreciate your likes. And I just appreciate most of all of you that are here watching my channel. It means so much to me. So I hope you have a fantastic day with your loved ones, maybe your cats, your kids, maybe just hanging out by yourself. But I do hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you'll join me in the next episode. Take care. Thanks for joining me on Beyond with Heather Tesch. Please add comments and questions you'd like future guests to answer. Also, if you liked what you heard, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. That'll help keep this podcast going. You can also go to Beyond with Heather Tesch to look for more episodes.